good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining today. So, hope you are doing well in this pandemic situation. So, till now, I will give you a brief of what we have covered till now. We'll give you a brief recap for those who have joined today. So, till now, we have covered about the Android architecture and Android security architecture. Then we have talked about the permission model, and then we talked about the Android application components, and then we have covered about the testing lab setup for Android applications. And in the episode second, we have covered about the bug suit configuration setup, how to set up the bug suit certificate in your Android device, and what challenges we face during our configuration. So we talked about that, and then we covered about the decompilation of binary as well as the decompilation of Kotlin applications. Okay, so that's what we have covered till now. So this is the agenda for our topic today. So we will be covering about the local storage, where we will discuss about the insecure logging, hard coding issues, insecure data storage, database insecure storage, and then we will talk about the memory dump data. So all these topic will be covered by me, Satish Verma, and the rest of the three topics will be covered by Rinku Kumar, who is the co-presenter with me. So he will be discussing about the poor input validation, access control issues, leaking content provider. Okay, so let's move to our next session, that is called the local storage. So whenever any application given to you for penetration testing, so you install your application in your device as well as in your emulators. So in Android application, there is one central place where the logs has been stored by the Android applications. So as an attacker or as an pen tester, we need to check if these logs are being stored or storing any sensitive information or not. So if I talk about the screenshot, which you can see here, so this is my application, which we will be using for our demo, that is called Diva. And this Diva application is storing sensitive logs or client-side logs in a central place. And if this logs has been stored in the central place, any attacker, any malicious application which has been installed in your device can also view these logs. So our task is here to find out the logs and check if any sensitive information is being stored in these logs or not. So what we will do, we will just check uh, uh, check the sensitive logs by using the logcat command. So before that, what we will do, we will first check out the process ID for that particular application which is installed in your device. So as you all know, right, so Android run top of the Linux, and we will be executing the commands which is used in Linux. So like adb cell, we have already discussed about adb commands. So we'll be using some of the Linux command like grep and other commands to get all the details. Okay, so for local storage, our goal is to find out the client-side logs and check if any sensitive information is stored in client-side logs or not. So our first step is to get the process ID for that particular application in which you are working on, right? So to get the process ID, so we will execute the ps command and just grep for the Diva. Then we will get the process ID, and then we will execute the logcat command for that particular process ID. So let's move into the demo section. So I have opened one emulator here. So as I told you, so I will be working with the Diva application. So this is our Diva application which we have already installed, and installation, uninstallation, everything is covered in our previous sections. So this is a Diva application which is particularly designed for finding out the vulnerabilities into the Android applications. So our first topic is insecure login. So if we click on the insecure login, so we can see there is an objective here in which we need to find out the logs where and how and when the vulnerable codes. So the idea is that when we enter our credit card here, credit card number, suppose I'm typing any credit card number, this is the junk data which I'm typing. So if I click on the checkout, so it is saying an error occurred, please try again later. So that means if you click on the checkout event, so this log is being stored into the central storage. So our task is to find out the central storage location and check the client side log if this particular information is stored in the client side log or not. So what we will do, we will try to execute, the ADB commands. So let me increase it. Okay, so this one I will close it. So first of all, I will check if my device is connected or not. So my device is connected. So what I will do, I will, just type ADB cell, and now I'm into the Android emulator cell. So what I will do, I will just navigate to data package, and I will just type PS. So if I type the process ID, so we can see we have one package named jakarasim.diva, and we have the process ID here 2636. So if you want to access only this particular application process ID, so what you can do, you can just use the grep command and just type the application name here. So what you will get the particular application which you want to execute. You will get the process ID for that particular application. So we can see, the process ID for this particular application is 2686. So we can copy that particular process ID and check the ADB log command. So we can check from here only. We can type, either you can open another terminal, or you can execute it from the same terminal. So I am just trying to execute it from here only. As I am already into the ADB cell, what I will do, I will just type logcat, and then the process ID. And the process ID is 2686. So if I type here, so now I am getting the getting the logs for 2686. So what I will type here, so if I'll execute any command or any any event here into the application, these logs will be stored into the central storage. So I'm typing the credit card number here and check if the logs has been stored the credit card information or not. You can see, right? So we can see this and this client side log is storing the sensitive information here in the clear text. So this as a pen tester, we can give an issue and ask the development to fix this, right? Okay, so this one is the local storage for insecure login, and the next topic is the hard coding issue. So in our last session, some of you guys asked about while we were trying to show you about the decompilation of binary. So some of you asked about what we can do if we decompile the application, right? We get the code, and what as a pen tester we can be benefited from this particular code, right? So to answer your query or question, so we can check any sensitive information which has been stored into the client side code or not, right? So what happens, sometime, Android developer make a mistake in the source code of the Android application, and they explicitly set, define some constant value, and these constant value has been stored into client side codes. So basically we need to check for any confidential data which has been hard coded into the client side code, so that, we can leverage this particular, client side storage to, exploit further attacks, right? So basically we need to check for some of the, strings like password, access token, authentication string, DBA password, and blah blah things, right? So it depends on the application logic also, right? So what application logic you have the application has defined. So based on that, you can check for that particular sensitive information stored in client side code or not. So in this particular example, if I check, so one, hard coded key is stored, right? So our task is to find out the secret key and access the files. So let me, open the application and check for the hard coding issue part one, right? So, so if I check the Diva application, so our objective is to find out the hard coded key and where. So if I type here test, so it is saying access denied, see you in the hell. That means we are not typing the correct access code here, right? So our task is to find out the access code. So where we will find this access code? So we need to check the code which we have decompiled. So for the sake of this presentation, I have already, decompiled, or, converted the APK file into jar, and I have opened this particular converted file into the decompiler, which is JDGUI. So if I check into the source code of this particular Asim, Jacar so here I can see there is one, activity, there is one class named as hardcode activity.class, right? So if I check the code and check the logic, so this hardcode activity is the class name, and if I check, so what is trying to show here, so it is just, comparing the strings which each entered into the text field. So if any user, enter this particular vendor secret key into the text string, so it will give access granted, see you on the other side. And if you type any other value other than that vendor secret key, so you will get the access denied, see you in the hell. So what we have to do, we have to just, copy this vendor secret key and try if we are able to get the if you are able to access the authenticated page or not, right? Vendor secret key. So just type it and click on it. Access granted, see you on the side, right? So basically what I'm trying to show you here, so you need to check the code for any, sensitive information is hard coded or not. So these hard coded information may be, any secret key, database name, database password, username, user ID and password, and other strings, you can access from there. All right, so let's move to the next session. So the next one is the local storage. Sometime, when you install your application in your device and you perform any activity in your application, so sometime, application stores sensitive information in shared preferences folder. So basically what happens, so we need to check these local storage shared preferences folder, and this shared preferences file can be, located in this location like data package name and the shared preferences folder. So basically we need to check if this particular file is encrypted or not, or the information which has been stored in this particular file is encrypted or not. If this is being stored in clear text, then there is an issue for a pen tester. So let's move to the demo part. So I'm just clicking on the insecure data storage part one. So here our objective is to find out the credential stored, right? So basically what we are trying to do here, we are just entering the username and the password, and we are just clicking on the save. So what we will do, we will just type Satish is the username and Satish is the password, and just we are clicking on save. So third party credential saved successfully. So when these credential is saved, so our task is to check the folder, right? So what I will do, I will just open one another terminal. Let me zoom it so that you can clearly see it. So what I will do, I will just go to adb cell and cd data, and all the packages will be stored in data package only, right? So if you click on ls, you will get all the installed packages here. So but our task is to find out the vulnerability in the Diva application. So what we will do, we will just navigate to jakarasim.diva. I'm just clearing it, and if I do ls, so you can see there is one folder named shared preferences is already created by the application. So our task is to find out if any file is being populated in shared preferences folder or not. So what we will do, I will just navigate to shared preferences folder, and I will do ls. So you can see, right, there is one file created, jakarasim diva preferences.xml. So what I will do, I will just copy this and click on and to view this file, I will just type this, and you can see, right, so what I typed in the application is being stored here in clear text. So as an attacker or as a pen tester, you can check the shared preferences folder for any sensitive information stored in clear text or not, right? Okay, so if I talk about the local storage, so there is another one, big issue where we can find all the sensitive information stored, that is called the database, right? So sometime applications store the database related queries or username passwords, or sometime some secret keys, or if I talk about the applications, sometime it also stores session ID into the local database. So as a pen tester, we need to check for the database files if this application is storing any sensitive information in the local storage or not. So if I talk about the databases, so what we can do, so there are two methods to check this particular file. One is using SQLite command. This we will execute with the SQLite command prompt. So basically, what we need to do, we need to just navigate the jakarasim.diva package name and then databases, and then check if any database file is created or not. We can see if I did ls, so there is one file created ID s2. So I navigated to by using the SQLite command, SQLite IDS through, and then navigated to the to the database, right? So if I type the table, so it is giving me the table names. So then I used in a simple SQL query, which you all know, right? Select star from my user, and then we get uh, the, the information which is stored into that particular table, right? So let's move to the demo part. So let me open it, and we will try to check it. Right, hard coding issues part 2. Yes, this one. Okay, so the same screen, right? So we need to enter information like username and password here, and check if this is being stored into the database or not. So what we will do, we will just navigate to our folder here. I'm just clearing it. If I do ls, so I can see there is one database file created. So I will just navigate there, cd databases, and I click on, if I click on ls, so you can see, right, IDS2 is being created. So what I will do, I will just use SQLite command and navigate this particular database, IDS2. Okay, IDS2. right? So now you can see, right, I'm into the SQLite database. So if you click on help, you will get all the commands which is present into the SQLite database. So for the sake of this one, I will type tables and check if any tables are present or not. So I can see, there are two tables here, right? So my user seems to be interesting for me. So what I will do, I will just write select star from my user and check, right? So you can see, till now I have created at least three username and passwords there. So I can see, all these information is being stored in clear text into the database file, right? So you need to check as a pen tester all the database files which has been created by the application. So this one is the one method. So another method is by using the SQLite database browser, right? So basically there is one tool, which I have already installed in my system. So we will use this SQLite database browser to view the database files. So basically what we have to do, we have to first pull out the package, right, which is being created by the application. So I will be using adb pull data jaka-rasim.deva. So it will put all the files which has been created by the application. And uh, and in the local, I can check the sensitive information using SQLite database browser. So my task is to pull out the file, right? So what I will do, I will just write down the adb pull. First I will navigate to the folder where I want to store this the pulled files. So I will navigate to desktop. Okay, desktop, CD, Android, and Workshop. And I want to pull my files here. Adb pull, and then data jkhr.asim.diva, right? So if I click, if I type this command adb pull and the package name, so you can see, 13 by 13 files pulled. So what I will do, I will just navigate there and check if these files is created or not, right? Right. So you can see I'm into the Android Workshop folder, and you can see, these files are created. So there is one file database. There is one folder database, and what we will do, I told you, right? So I installed the database SQLite browser here. So I will open it and try to open the file. So I'm going to desktop and Android Workshop, and we have Asim Diva and database, and I have this database file, right? I can open it here, and if I click on browse, then there is one table name my user. You have already seen that, right? So using the SQLite database browser, I can also see the information which is stored into the database folder, right? So both the ways, you can use either command prompt. If you are compatible with the command prompt, you can use the command prompt. If you are not compatible with the command prompt, you can just pull the files from that particular package, and then open this particular database file using SQLite database browser. I hope it clear all your doubts. And so this one is covered and this one is covered, right? Okay, so the next topic is, sometime, Android application also store some information into your temporary file in secure storage file. So basically we need to navigate and check into the data package folder name if any information is stored into the temporary file or not. So let's move into the demo part and check if we have anything in the Diva application. Yes, insecure data storage. Yes, part 2. Yeah, right. So our task is to find out the same information. Satish, and I'm giving the password. If I click on save, so this is being stored in the temporary file. So what I will do, I will use my adb command here to find out the adb cell. So I'm going to package data and jaka.asmdiva. If I click on ls, you can see, right? So there are so many files created here, right? So I already checked this file again. So now I can show you, right? So this file has been stored here, right? So if I copy this and use the cat command to view this file, so you can see, so this temporary file also storing the sensitive information. So basically what I am trying to show you, so you need to check all your local storage when you install any application in your device and you navigate through your applications functionalities. So you can check all these folders here. So all these folders is storing any sensitive information in your of your application. Right. So external storage, yeah. So the next one is the external storage. Sometime Android application also store sensitive information in SD cards. So SD card is an another location where Android where developers store data associated with applications. And if application is storing any sensitive information in SD cards, so these can be accessed by any attacker or any malicious user. If your device is stolen or device is lost, then anyone can pull the SD card and check the sensitive information from there. So we are not giving any demo because physical device is required for this particular demo. So basically, if you are working with any physical device, you can navigate to mount SD card and then check if any files is stored in this particular location or not, and then check using the cat command or whichever command you are comfortable with. Right? Someone using vim command, so you can use this command to view the files, or other way you can pull the file from there also into the local. All right, so the next one is the memory dump, right? So sometime application also store the information in memory, in the local storage memory, right? So basically, as an attacker or as a pen tester, we need to check the memory data as well, right? Sometime Android application store sensitive information in heap location, and we need to check if this information is containing any sensitive information or not, right? So basically what we have to do, we have to just navigate to the heap dump storage. The first step is to get the process ID, which I have already covered when I was talking for the insecure local storage. So you get the process ID, then execute the adb cell am dump heap, then PID, and then store this particular file in this particular location, data local temp, and give any name whichever you are comfortable. So let me check if I can give this one. Okay, so we have 2686, the process ID is 2686. So what I will do, I will so yeah, I will open another terminal and try to execute the command here. Let me increase the size. So I'm just executing adb cell, and then am is for the activity manager. dump heap, and our process ID is 2686. 2686, and then store this file in data local, and then temp, and then give any name. Satish one dot text, right? So this file is being stored into this particular file. Now our task is to navigate there and check if this file is particularly storing or not, right? So what I'll do, I will go back to this folder and check cd and local and cd temp, right? So if I click on ls, you can see, right? So all these file has been created here, all the temp files, right? So basically what we need to check, we need to check for this one because I have created this file, right? Satish one dot text. So what I will do, I will just click on, I need to check if any sensitive information is stored in this particular memory log or not, right? So what I will do, I will just type this Satish one dot text and open it, right? So many informations are coming here, right? So what I will do, I will just click on search because it is giving all the memory information. So what I will do, I will just click on it and control F, and because I have typed one credit card information here, right? No, it is not coming. Maybe Satish. See, I typed the username and password, and I'm getting the username and password in clear text here, right? So basically, you need to check your memory logs as well if you are checking for the local storage. Okay, so takeaway. So takeaway is when any application given to you for performing any pen test. So you can install your application in your device as well as in emulator and try to check after accessing all the functionalities, right? And check if any sensitive information has been stored in these particular locations like shared preferences, database, cache, temp files, sd card, local log files, memory dump, using the same process which I have already discussed. So that's all for the local storage part. So I'm going to hand over the next topics to Rinku Kumar. So he will be discussing about the input validation and other topics. Rinku, over to you.
So here we will cover the some topic which were already discussed by Satish. So first topic is input validation, specifically SQL injection. So before going to the exercise and demo part, let me discuss what is SQL injection briefly. So SQL injection is a vulnerability when untrusted input is injected into the SQL query, and that SQL query is processed by the database server. So you can see in there is a Java code snippet there. There is a variable string variable q, and SQL query is creating here. Select abc act underscore balance from user underscore data, and the user input is collected by the function request dot get parameter, and here user parameter is customer name. Someone passes the malicious character inside the customer name, that query will be created, and that will be executed on the server. So using SQL injection, attacker can modify the query as per their requirement, and able to retrieve the data, create a file, delete a table, even fully compromise the database server. It's totally depend on the permission of the database, what permission that application is running. If there is a DBA, that might be possible to delete the whole the table and database. So next section will be moving type of SQL injection. There are two type of SQL injection. First one is error based. Suppose someone passing some malicious character single quote, and that single quote is directly inserted into query, and that query is not unbalanced query due to the single quote. Then single quote, that query if directly go to the database, that create the syntax error, that is called, and display to the user, that is called error based SQL injection. In blind SQL injection, what happens if someone passes the single quote, double quote, any quote, then SQL query will be generated, but this SQL query will be suppressed by the application, that does not display to the user, so user is not able to get the error. So user attacker will try to do using the some other techniques, like you can use attacker can use boolean query or the time based query. Boolean query condition can apply or and time based query, if boolean query will not work, attacker can use the time based query to execute his code defined by time. So that is the time boolean based, that is a blind case. So here scenario is if you know the username, you can access the data assets with it. So if you know the, let me show the demo part. So input validation part 1. So here this is the Diva application which were discussed by the Satish, and if you know the username, then you can able to access the detail of that user. Suppose I just put it admin, I am able to get the admin details. So let's try with the, that is input field, let's try with the SQL injection. For SQL injection, just pass the single quote and check with search. There is no any error is coming. There is a blind SQL injection here present. We will also check with double quote if there is concatenation is happening with the double quote, then user not found. It means double quote is not used for concatenation, only single quote. So you have also the benefit, if you're doing the penetration testing of the client side application, you can take benefit of the log file, that is the device log, you can take benefit, as Satish already told you. So for this, just use adb root and adb shell. I am inside the adb shell. Just before that, I need to I need to know the process ID of the that application. Here is the process ID 29254. 29254 is my process ID. So I can note this process ID. So start logcat star. Here I want to capture all the log, info log, debug log, error log, every type of log I want to access. So I put it here star, and then grep this, get grep for this my only process, my process. So now I am able to capture the log of the my application only. So I put here single quote and then search. You can see here my single quote is directly going into the query part, not validating anything, not no any sanitization is there. So if you put double quote here, that no any error is coming, because that is the balance query. So if you put another thing, single quote, less than, greater than, hash, dollar, percent, hyphen, let's see what happened. So I am able to get all the user input here. From the log, we can know that the all user input is directly going into application. No any validation is happening in the application on the client side. So I will try to, now we are confirmed here the SQL injection is possibility. So I just go there and write the query to access the all value and retrieve all the details from the database. So I just balance the query using single quote and put or, and 2 less than is equal to 3, and I after that this hyphen, after this hyphen you can put put because search. So you can see here, I am able to retrieve all the user detail without knowing the username. So let's quickly review this vulnerability using source code, where this vulnerability is actually happening, why this actual vulnerability is happening. So I have already decompiled my source code and open it the JDGUI. So you know there is a file main activity to this class. This is the main activity of the application. So I go into the main activity. If we drop down, then we are able to see there different option is available here. You can see, you can compare with the this activity list, and this here define all the activity here. You can see. So here input validation 3. So I am working on the input validation 1. SQL injection, that is SQL injection here. So then I click on the SQL injection activity and go to this activity, and I am inside the SQL injection activity. So here, if I review this SQL activity, create is a process which run when the application is launched. So we do not consider this value. We have to focus on the search part, because we are dealing with the search part. So in the line second, you can see the user input is retrieved into the edit text parameter, edit text variable, and in the this line, highlighted line, you can see that my edit.text.getText.string value is directly added into the cursor, directly added and called to the database query, raw query, using the raw query function, directly called to the database process. So here vulnerability is, if my user input is not sanitizing, not filtering anything, just concatenating into the database query, and that after that database query will perform return all the value. So this is the first type of vulnerability, SQL injection. Now move on the second one. Yeah. Second one is input validation. This also come the input validation. This is the type 2 vulnerability. So let's discuss with the example here. Scenario is application is having functionality to display some web page that is entered by the user. So here functionality is, if you go there, that section input validation 2, here functionality is user have to enter the some URL. After entering the URL, application will resolve this URL and give the response to the user. So here this is the functionality. So let me discuss what is vulnerability inside this functionality. So application is accepting as a URL from the untrusted data. That URL type is not validated on the server. URL type might be anything: HTTP, HTTPS, either file, either FTP, either any URL type is accepting. URL type is defined by the user. So attacker can take benefit of this and access the local file in the devices. So let's discuss with example with the demo session. Suppose first let me try this functionality is working or not. So http://www.google.com and try to access this google.com. I think something problem is happening. Just let me check with Bubsuit. Proxy address is changed, so not able to intercept. Yeah. Try to access this. Yeah, now able to intercept. Then just one. Yeah, I am able to open the www.google.com using the web view browser. So this is the functionality. So I need to bypass this functionality. So just I put another URI type file colon triple slash data here data jakhar dot asim dot diva slash shared underscore brief. Okay, and then jakhar dot asim dot diva underscore preferences dot xml. Yeah, try to access the internal file of the this application using this vulnerability. Yeah, you can see I am able to get the this file using this vulnerability. Actually this vulnerability, this file is not directly accessible by the user if device does not have root permission. So using this vulnerability you can access the all the all the file inside the application. Now let me try to access the other file which is not related to the application, like store on the devices using this vulnerability. So I use again file colon triple slash data slash local slash secret dot txt. I think something getting problem. Just a minute, let me check. Slash data local secret dot txt. Let me resolve why this not able to access. Could not be loaded because file not found. I think I have given wrong file name, so I need to just check inside this file is present or not. Just do adb shell, after that cd slash data. Okay, I think local. I think there is another folder, temp folder. So I am missing here. Use tmp slash secret dot. Yeah, see, I am able to access the another secret file which is inside my devices. So using this vulnerability, you are able to access application data as well as the another data which is stored in the device. So next, move to the next our exercise, next vulnerability. So go to the this access control issue. Actually, access control issue happening when the authorization is not properly implemented in the application, either a client side application like mobile or server side application like web application. So both side it's work. So access control issue, let's see what can we do for this vulnerability. So we can access the again Diva device. Yeah, access control part 1. Yeah, here is a functionality to see the view API credential. If you click on the view API credential, you are able to access all the detail like API key, username and password here. So here our objective is try to access this page, this activity page, vendor API credential directly from directly from another application like Activity Manager. So before going to that, let me understand some concept behind this, why this will be happen. So for this we need to open the Android manifest.xml. Yeah, before going to that, we need to understand the concept, some source code from the source code review. So I just open this my source code and go to that uh, access control activity dot class here. If you go there, so here is a one function is on create is that default function, that is main function is view API credential. This is the function. So here you can see new intent is created here and set a action, that is intent value is jaka.asim.diva.action.view creates. Oh, here intent is defined, and after that check for the intent is resolving or not. If resolving, then start the activity using this intent jaka.asim.diva.action.view underscore creates. So let's see what will be actually what activity will be start by this intent. We will see here on the Android manifest.file. Yeah, you can see there API. This is my intent. This is activity. API creates activity. Okay, and this is intent filter is configured for this activity. So here you can see the intent filter action is jaka.asim.diva.action.view credential, which were discussed in the source code. And this is the activity is API creates activity. So if you try to access this intent, this API creates activity will be open because this activity is related to this action. So see, our Android system is automatically search. If I try to access this intent, automatically search API creates activity. This is implicitly defined intent. So let's review API creates activity here in the source code. What is this? Go to the Java source code. Here you can see there the activity API creates. This is the activity. This is the function which are defined into particular intent. If you click that particular intent, then this activity will be executed, and you can see that this text will be appear to the user API key, and this is the API key value and username this, and this is the password. So we have to bypass these things. We will try to access this activity page API creates activity without any credential using other process activity manager. So let's go into the demo part. We will see how can we access. So I will note my activity intent part, intent action here. Just copy it. Yeah. I am already inside the device. So run ls. Okay, it's working. So there is a one tool AM default installed in the emulator. AM, you can use the start command to start the activity. Okay, then use -a for the action. So I define my here, my action is defining here, intent is defining here. This is the intent. So Android system will automatically find this activity and display to us. So before that I just close this application. Okay, and try to access this intent. Yeah, you can see here I am directly able to access this activity using another application, activity manager. I can directly start here. So here access control is not properly implemented, so I am able to access. So next, move on the next part, we will see other vulnerabilities. Okay, we will see another type related to this vulnerability. So before that, we go to the type 2, Diva. This is access control issue 2. Okay, so here functionality is there is a checkbox. If you click on checkbox, if you already register there, then click on already register. After clicking, you can view the credential. Yeah, you can view the all the details related to the API key, username, password. There is another functionality, register now. Check on register now, then view Twitter API credential. You need to add here the PIN number. For adding the PIN, there is an instruction register yourself in the payatu.com to get the PIN. I don't have any PIN, so I leave it for it. So I can use already registered value and view Twitter API credential. So our motto is to access this all the detail from the another application using any API key value, any PIN value. Our motto is to do. So before going that, let's first review that code and yeah. This is the access control activity 2. So here main function is view API credential. So in the next section here radio, but here you can see radio button object is to find the that radio button value, both the either registration, either already register value. Just collect this value on the radio button. After that, create the new intent object. After that, check radio button dot is check. This is the value to collect the radio button whatever is selected by the user into the variable boolean. Okay, after that intent, set the action jakhar.asim.diva.action dot view underscore cats2. Then put the extra data value, actually put extra function. Put extra function is used to send the extra data value into the with the intent. Here I am sending the get string value, get string parameter with the boolean value. Boolean value might be true or false. Might be boolean value. This might be true or false. So let me, after that there is a condition there, our intent is resolving or not. If intent is resolving, then start the activity, start the intent. So we need to first find out that what will be our activity related to this intent. So again we will go to the android manifest.xml file, find my activity, then after that we will review our activity. So go to the, that is view underscore creds. Go to the again the android manifest file, and yeah, here is there is a action. My intent is jakhar.asim.diva.action.view underscore creds2. Okay, and if you see, check the activity, there is a activity API creds2 activity. This is the activity defined. When someone trigger this intent, that this activity will be open, API creds2 activity. So let's review API crash to activity from the source code. Yeah, this is API crash to activity and this is a function. Yeah, here we are inside the API crash to activity. There is a on create function. Inside the on create function, there is all the functionality. Just set the content view here, setting the UI part on the for this application activity, and here collecting the text value from this activity, and here the edit text field from the activity, and here we are collecting the button from this activity, and after that we are checking get intent for getting the intent, get boolean extra for getting the intent extra value with the intent, that is get string, that is the parameter, and we will search this parameter what is this in the next section, and this is the true value. True value, if this value is, if this value is coming from the true value, and here is a negative field means not with true value, then this activity will, this text will be shown to the user, that is Twitter API key secret Twitter API key, username and password. So our target is using the using the activity manager to trigger the particular intent, and for particular intent there is extra data is going, so that extra data is false here, because true with the true that value will not execute, extra value will be false. And let's search what is this value, what is this parameter. Actually there will be parameter, so we need to search what will be parameter. So just copy this parameter and go to, go to the section cd diva beta jar dot source code. Okay, then use here the grep command to find the find the string value related to the this integer value. So here I use grep command and use R for recursive, N for numerical value, means where this which line this means this result will become shown, and after that search value, and that slash, and you can use color for coloring. Yeah, you can see here that value I have searched for, that is the text value check pin value. So the parameter will be check. So let me check this. We are definitely here. There will be value check underscore pin. Okay, let's check with the what will be value of this check underscore pin. So for this we need to search this value in the string.xml. In APK there is a file strings.xml where all the constant is defined. So check chk underscore pin what constant value is defined for this parameter. So go again into the this is I already opened string.xml file. So here you can see on the at line 12, chk pin is defined as a check underscore p defined. So this is the original parameter which carry the boolean value either true or false. So we can use quickly Android activity manager to access this intent. So I run here. Yeah. activity manager start this value. I need to copy this intent value. Yeah, just copy this intent value. Yeah. Before that, I need to put -a action, put the intent value. After that, I already told you with this intent there is extra data is going, so I need to put that extra data, and that extra parameter is boolean, so I need to put z here, and after that put the that parameter check underscore pin. Okay, and value is false. Before that, I just kill this process and run the command. This. I think something problem is coming. Let me check. Unable to resolve activity. Check underscore pin. Yeah, that is correct. Start hyphen scenario view under creds EJ. Yeah, there is. I think I have mistakenly put the one hyphen. Actually, two hyphen would be. I will check. I will show you here. Just let me show you. Help command. Start help command. Yeah. Yeah, you can see here EJ hyphen EZ extra key and extra boolean value. So I am passing boolean value, so I need to pass hyphen EZ here. Yeah. See, I am able to access the direct without any pin. So here I am able to get API key, username, password. So here one thing I need to clarify there, if developer has developed any application, first they need to obfuscate the source code. Using source code, attacker can do anything if attacker know the how to review source code. So code must be obfuscated. So next, move up the next exercise and see. Next exercise is linking content provider. We have already discussed using content provider. Application can share the data, can store the data into SQLite database or into the file or transfer to the server. Application can share with the other application or same application using content provider. So content provider leaking vulnerability is that content provider is not properly configured, and that content provider activity might be exported. If there is a exported condition, so any application can use it directly because there is a exported permission. So let's review this into the Android manifest.xml file. So going to the Android XML file here. Yeah. Check for the provider. Here is a provider. Yeah. Here is a provider. There is provider authority java.asim.diva.provider.nodes provider. This is the authority, and this is the activity. You can see nodes provider. Nodes provider is using this content provider. So let's quickly review this nodes provider and check what URI using for the retrieving the information from the database using the content provider. So go to the again source code, inside the source code, and check the nodes provider. Yeah, here is a nodes provider class. Go to the function. If you go here, there is nodes provider. In the string authority, you can see there is nodes provider, and in this line you can see there is a URI using with the content colon slash slash jakhar dot asim dot diva dot provider nodes provider and slash nodes is a table name. Okay, so here we are already got this exact URI. So this activity already exported. Then why cannot use this facility to access directly from the another command or source? So we can use. We are not using up any this application. We are using my command to access all the information, retrieving all the information without any permission. So clear it. After that, go to the ADB cell to get inside the devices, and then use there is a command content. There is a after the some command sub command query. I am going to query. Okay, if you go click on get the all the help detail, we can use. So I am using content query content query hyphen URI. Yeah, I just need to copy this URI. Just paste it and try to access this content provider using the URI. Yeah, you can see I am able to access all the data, all the database table value. We can see if you want to just filter it, you can filter it using the where command, where command in just like query, where underscore ID is equal to, I just wanted to the row number 5, ID is equal to 1. So then put ID is equal to 1 here and try to access. Yeah, I am able to get the ID 1 related value. So we have covered all the things here. Yeah, we have covered all the things here. Data SQL injection input in input. There is a SQL injection, URL reload vulnerability, and after that access control related issue, and after that content provider. So we are finished. I am finishing this session. If you have any query, you can ask now.
Sure, Rinku, we have some questions available here. Okay, so one question is from Rajan Dinkar. Apologies if I have misspelled the name. If you will be able to get token or any other value in encrypted form but not able to decrypt, still we consider as it as bug.
Yeah, definitely considered, because in for particular case, if application is not obfuscated, so an attacker try to find out key as well as a decryption algorithm and try to decrypt that value using that.
Okay. So one question is from Jay. What's the impact of that issue and how it can cause damage?
Which issue?
He has not mentioned, and I'm not sure if he is available as of now with us.
For different issues, there might be different impacts.
Yeah, he was asking about the one Satish demonstrated, the issue wherein the log was being managed.
Can you
Was
speak louder?
The issue where the log was being saved and log was being seen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Satish demonstrated that issue.
Okay, means what is the problem with the log if some sensitive information is logged into the, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, definitely. This is the issue because if you logging the application data into log, another application can access that log, and another person can find that log value. If you store sensitive information like credential, so anybody can get from the credential from the log.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, again, one question from Rajan Dinkar. Can perform this attack in non-rooted phones? Is it possible to perform insecure storage or logging attacks remotely?
No, you are not permission to go inside the /data/ folder without root permission. So you need to first rooted the device. After that, you need to perform the
And
thing.
regarding
Yeah.
regarding those ADB, related attacks which you suggested, can they be performed remotely also?
ADB remotely, yeah, they might be performed. Yeah, you can perform. Actually, in devices there is an option. You can perform ADB using USB. Yeah, another remotely.
Okay, so you mean to say that outside the local network, it can be performed from there also, right?
Yeah, might be possible. Yeah, you can debug remotely as well as everything. If you talk about source code, even you can debug remotely, but you need to perform setup some.
Yeah, so I think they are asking about the we can access the root from remote, right? This is the question, right? So we need to check that if we can access.
You can perform a SSH there in install through the
Yeah,
SSH you can do.
yeah.
There is another ADB facility there you can do.
There are a couple of ways where we can uh, get the access from remote server.
Okay, one question is from Shine. Is SQLi possible in Firebase DB?
SQLite. SQLite database, yeah,
No. Is SQL injection possible in Firebase DB?
it totally depend upon how the developer actually did the code. Totally depend on the developer.
Yeah, totally depend on the code written. If they have written some dynamic.
Too early. Even if you talk about parameterized query, there might be vulnerability. You are using parameterized value for the some parameter, but in other parameter you are directly hard coding that value. So there might be possible there SQL injection there.
I would like to add to what Rinku and Satish is talking about Firebase DB and SQL injection. When the question is about Firebase DB, see, Firebase DB is no SQL database, and we all know that the injection is possible in no SQL database.
Yeah, no, definitely in NoSQL injection database, there might be vulnerability of NoSQL injection vulnerability.
Yes,
If
right.
there is using the where command, any user supplied value is not properly validated. Then in NoSQL injection, NoSQL DB also NoSQL injection possible.
Yes, right.
Yes, that's great. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, man. Thanks for
So
very much.
there is one question from Praveen Singh. What is nodes provider? Please make it clear, and content provider as well.
Nodes provider and content. Here nodes provider just using the activity, and content provider is a way, just a object interface which provide the accessibility from the which allow to access from the different application. Using the object provider, you create the object some URI. Using that URI, resolve this URI and get access to the database or file, yeah, anything.
And another question is from vgrow. How about access to Realm database?
Which database?
Realm.
Real.
Rinkuji, Realm database is again MongoDB. So this
Oh,
is again the question
MongoDB.
of NoSQL.
To NoSQL, yes, yes, right. You. are
Yeah.
right.
So Praveen Singh has asked a question. Does it comes in dynamic testing?
Dynamic, yeah, dynamic testing. We have tested SQL injection. This is all dynamic testing. Actually, we are performing client side dynamic, not the server side. You can also configure for the server side dynamic testing. Just capture the request into the burp, and you from where you can test like as another other web application like what.
Fair enough. I think this is all the questions which we have.
Yep.
Sure, guys. Thank you for joining our session. We will continue further.